Welcome viewers. Today we will discuss about another context of organizational size. How size determines the structure of an organization. And we will focus on first defining the organizational size, then what are the pros and cons of a larger size organization. We will summarize the conclusion from the Aston Group's research, describe effect of size on complexity, formalization, centralization, explain the effect of size on the administrative component, and finally we will discuss or list down organizational theory issues that are of great and lesser importance to small business managers. So, to start the discussion, we will first define the size. Organizational size is defined as the total number of employees working in the organization. It is assumed that number should be more closely associated with the structure than with any other size measures. So, the discussion here is the size determines the structure. Advocates of the size imperatives are Peter Blau concluded his research based on the concept that size is the most important condition affecting the structure of an organization. Aston Group theorists also have concluded that increased size was associated with greater specialization and formalization. There is another addition to this discussion, that is size and complexity, which talks about the impact of size on complexity is at decreasing rate, and then we will be discussing about the examples which proposed by Blau, but other critics have also suggested potential alternative hypothesis confirming the impact of size on complexity. Peter Blau's theory of organizational size and structure. Formal theory of organizational structure, which highlights the impact of size on complexity and differentiation. The first point is size generates differentiation, number of divisions, hierarchical levels, and specialized job roles. With increase in differentiation, there occurs at a decreasing rate. Large organizations are very complex than the smaller ones. The rate of complexity slows as the organization gradually grows or grows larger. Differentiation is another context which is in the organization enlarges the administrative components, that is support staff, managers, they keep on adding. Large organizations exhibit decentralization in decision making because there is a direct top down supervision. It becomes difficult with increasing size. Formalization is large organizations use more rules, regulations, and norms and procedures and standardized procedures to coordinate and control behavior of employees. So, there is a relationship between the Blau's theory and ACC structure. ACC structure aligns with several aspects of Blau's theory. Let us discuss about differentiation. What is the relationship between Associated Cement Company's example with the Blau's theory? I will be discussing here that Associated Cement Company's structure is explained with the various aspects of Blau's theory. So, here I will be discussing about the formation of Associated Cement Company, how it has been acquired by Holcim Group. In 1936, 11 cement companies belonging to Tata's Khatau, Kilik, Nixon and Dinshaw groups merged to form Associated Cement Companies with the chairman Sir Navroji Saklatwala. These companies were the Indian Cement Company, the Katni Cement and Industrial Corporation Limited, Budhi Portland Cement Limited, the Okha Cement Company Limited, Gwalior Cement Company, the Punjab Portland Cement, the United Cement Company Limited, Shahbad Cement Company, Coimbatore Cement, Devarkhand Cement, CP Cement Company Limited. ACC took over by Adani Group. The management control was taken over by Swiss cement manufacturer Holcim Group in 2004. ACC operated as a subsidiary of Lafarge Holcim. Name of the Associated Cement Company Limited was changed to ACC Limited on 1st of September 2006. On 14th April 2022, Holcim, after 17 years of its presence in India, it has quit India and sold its stakes in ACC and Ambuja Cements to Adani Group and focused on core business. So, with this explanation, with the various this example of ACC takeover by Adani Group, so we have come to a conclusion that size and centralization are related to each other. A research was mixed in demonstrating that size leads to decentralization. In owner managed organizations, the result interpreted on them were the effectiveness was lost when no move towards decentralized decision making as size increases. So, with increase in size, there has to be a decentralization. There is another discussion or learning from the purview or perspective of Parkinson's law in management. What is Parkinson's law and what is the lesson that we have learned? Parkinson's law is attributed to British naval historian Cyril Northcote Parkinson, who wrote about in a satirical article which is published in Economist in 1955. It was later reprinted in 1958 book Parkinson's Law or the Pursuit of Progress. It's a rule of thumb which states that the work expands so as to fill the time available for its competition. It is used as a criticism against inefficiencies of bureaucracies in large organizations. So, Parkinson's law refers to tendency among people at work to finish their task only just in time for the deadlines, even though they are capable of completing it much earlier. In such cases, an earlier deadline can only push people to become more efficient. So, special issues relating to organizational size, administrative component debate, Parkinson's law, the number of officials in an organization, and the quality of work which has to be done are not related to each other at all. The curvilinear argument, which emphasizes on the administrative component, is greater for smaller and larger organizations than for those in moderate size. So, as organizations move out of the small category, they enjoy the benefits from economies of scale. But as they become large, they lose their benefit and become so complex as to require significant increase in administrative components to facilitate coordination and control. We will now discuss about the application of Parkinson's law in Indian bureaucracy. The law, Parkinson's law, holds good in Indian public sector during the staff expansion, process proliferation, or budget allocation or budget utilization. Government departments in India often exhibit a tendency to increase the staff and create more layers of management, regardless of proportional increase in actual core work. Officials increase subordinates to build their own influence and they avoid potential rivals, leading to a growing number of pyramid and slower decision making processes, which actually happens in case of the government departments where the staff keeps on expanding. Process proliferation, this expansion often results in multiplication of internal policies, paperwork, and excessive bureaucracy or bureaucratic processes that may no longer be relevant or efficient. Energy is often diverted towards following outdated rules rather than focusing on core objectives. The related Parkinson's second law, that is, expenditure increases to meet income, is also evident when the government departments tend to fully utilize their allocated budgets by end of a fiscal year, even if it involves unnecessary spendings to ensure that the same or the higher budget for the next year. And how it is applicable, how the Parkinson's law is applicable in private organizations. It impacts efficiency and productivity of the private organizations. During the project management inefficiencies in project based work, such as in IT consulting firms, Tasks are often completed exactly on the schedule, even if they could be finished earlier. Teams spend extra time on over analysis, unnecessary data collection, or simply procrastinating until the deadline approaches. Meeting culture, time is spent on trivial issues like is often seen in meeting culture, meeting one after the other. Teams might spend a long time discussing minor details, too much of attention to detail like the color of a presentation slide while rushing through the critical complex decisions. Perception of or impression of being too busy or busyness. Employees in Indian organizations sometimes feel the need to appear very busy, even if the task could be completed sooner, to avoid being assigned more work or to justify their role. Remote work challenges, like with the increase of remote and flexible work in India, lack of traditional office and office oversight can exacerbate the effect of Parkinson's law, leading to time dilation where work expands indefinitely without clear structure or accountability. We will discuss about what are the strategies being adopted in Indian organizations to counteract the Parkinson's law. There is a focus on agile frameworks, emphasizing iterative developments and limit the expansion of work by setting short, clear deadlines or specific deliverables. The organizations emphasize to adopt to agile frameworks, flexible frameworks. There is a time bound, shorter deadlines, setting realistic yet challenging deadlines, or breaking large projects into smaller ones, time bound tasks to maintain focus and prevent unnecessary time wastage. There is a focus on outcomes, that is, shifting the focus from time spent on a task to the actual outcome and value being delivered. Accountability and tools, implementing project management tools and regular check ins to foster accountability and transparency on task progress. So, concluding the discussion here, organizational theory and small business, issues of reduced importance, issues of increased importance, and conclusion of all these issues. So, what we have discussed so far, just taking a quick look at how size has affected an organizational structure. We have discussed about the organizational size, pros and cons of large size organizations. There is a discussion on the Aston Group's research, and we have also discussed about the effect of size on complexity, formalization, centralization, and we have discussed about organizational theory issues of greater importance to small business managers, the relationship between how Associated Cement Company has been influenced by the Blau's theory, and we have further discussed about the Parkinson's law's application in management, and especially with respect to the Indian bureaucratic organizations and its applications in the private organizations. We have further started counteracted the Parkinson's law. What are the strategies being adopted by Indian organizations? So, we conclude the discussion here. Thank you.